Key lessons from the book Entrepreneurial You by Dorie Clark. The central premise of this book is teaching you how to monetize your expertise. And one thing that we realize is that a lot of people that seem highly successful, a lot of big influencers who have a lot of followers are actually generally not making a lot of money, because the ability to monetize your expertise is very different from the ability to become well known. And I would say that's something I've been particularly effective at from the very beginning, was monetizing my expertise, even more so than people who had much bigger followers than I did. So examples of monetizing would be being an affiliate for digital courses. So if you got 32 buyers, for example, that could generate $28,000 just from sending 5 to 6 emails, a blog post, and a video. And you could also add income from blogs and podcasts. So that could be a total of $34,000 in a month, which is what some people take home in an entire year. So another example would be $35,000 for teaching at a university for just 2 weeks. Other things that you could sell would be a communications plan, week-long trainings, working with larger companies that have larger budgets. So for example, the author working with Google, Yale, U.S. National Park Services. You could sell digital courses. For example, a course on how to get promoted at your company was one that generated $25,000 in the first year of release. Another lesson in this book is that diversifying is a good idea, which is not what you hear from a lot of influencers out there. So talking about making money from consulting, doing speaking, executive coaching, business school teaching. Most entrepreneurs focus too much on earning revenue from one or two activities, such as consulting and speaking. And it's actually it's riskier not to be diversified, even though a lot of people think the safer route is just to have a job. Well, thousands of people have gotten laid off in Silicon Valley, for example. Was that really a safe investment? It's much better if you're able to make money from, say, royalties on a book, plus course sales, plus speaking, plus consulting, because if any one of those goes under, you have others to back up on. So the author gets revenue from 7 sources: writing books, speaking, teaching business school, consulting, executive coaching, online courses, and affiliate income from email lists. So this would be similar to me as well. I'm making money, for example, royalties from books, and I make money from doing teaching, consulting, from selling courses. Most people that go into entrepreneurship are really looking for flexibility as the main benefit. Another thing you could do is you could have a daily podcast. So one day a week, you could tape 7 interviews and get virtual assistants to help with the production. And this frequency of releasing those once per day, even though you're just recording them on one day of the week, creates momentum and can get you traction in the market. You can generate revenue from advertising, online courses, membership in podcasters community, and you could make, in the demonstration in the book, 6 figures per month, sometimes $600,000 in just 30 days. So imagine that, taking home over $500,000 in a month. Another example cited is a food blog that generates $50,000 per month, not per year, from advertising, sponsored posts, ebook sales, and more. You want to think broadly about how to provide value for others. Another example is earning $365 in commission from sending 1 email. So that may not sound like a lot of money, but that's a good place to start, right? Let's see if we can monetize that email list. Let's see if we can monetize that 1 video, etc. Baby steps. You can create an online membership community. You want to build trust with your audience, become a trusted source. You could sell an ebook, and you really want to focus on building your email list. A lot of people are talking about how the gold is really in the list, not necessarily social media, where the algorithms change and you really don't own the relationship with the customer or the subscriber. You can be a blogger and podcaster, and when you do so, being transparent is going to help you build trust. An example was somebody that built trust and then sold a lead study guide. You can create content for sites people already know and respect. So I think this is a fundamental mistake a lot of people make in business, is they try to build their own followings. It's much easier just to latch on to followings that exist. So for example, being a guest contributor on HubSpot, or for example, I publish an article on MSN. Well, MSN has much bigger reach than I do, so why not piggyback off of that? Examples in the book are Huffington Post, Harvard Business Review, Forbes, which could increase your name recognition. You should create a list of websites for magazines, newspapers, and TV networks and look for publications that allow outside contributors. Email the editor and research the editor on Google and LinkedIn and make sure you follow the submission guidelines. I also recommend using the free tool SparkToro, which will spit out a list of magazines, publications, and influencers that reach the target audience you want to reach, and then you can solicit those people to be a guest contributor. Write a book. It's much more powerful than ebooks in terms of cementing your reputation. Self-publishing, however, is good if you have a very niche audience. So, for example, social media marketing for real estate agents, or if you want to publish quickly, because traditional publishing takes 1 to 2 years. And traditional is also better if you're aiming to build your credibility, perhaps as a stepping stone towards something else like getting on television. Look at what blog posts, podcasts, or videos were most popular, and those will give you ideas for what your book could be about. One thing I did was I took a collection of blog posts that I'd written and compiled them together in the form of a book. People judge you by your affiliations, and that's one thing that we see in brand building in general is you want your brand to become associated with things that the customer already knows, and then that's going to allow them to position your brand properly. So to use this, you can guest post on established blogs or podcasts, associate with prominent figures, and figure out what skills or resources that you have that you can offer people that are more experienced in your field, and things that you can offer like top podcasters, top publishers, etc. Email is basically a guaranteed way to reach your followers because social media algorithms are so fickle. Not building an email list earlier is a very common regret of entrepreneurs. You also see Noah Kagan talking about this a lot. So, for example, a demonstration in the book was somebody that's wasted a lot of time commenting on blogs and on forums and stuff when really what he should have been doing was building an email list. Build your email list, and some different ways to do that is giving away a PDF workbook, any sort of giveaway. You could give away links to videos, webinars, interviews, give away a tip sheet, a mini course. You could have sample text and graphics that help solve a problem. You could have a more in-depth article than the original post that people have to sign up for in order to get access to. So, for example, there was this Medium article, How to Work 14 Hours in 16.7. And then the segue to go on the list was get the 32-page guide instead of just reading the high-level article. More volume is more exposure. This is something a lot of top people talk about. So Grant Cardone, very big on frequency, just cranking out tons of content. Alex Hormozi is huge on this, and even Noah Kagan to some extent is also in agreement. Frequency may be more important than having a better strategy or better tactics. And one of the reasons is not just that you're getting in front of people more often, but it's the learning that happens. If you publish 200 videos, you're going to collect data and you're going to learn along the way what works, what doesn't. Same thing with blog posts, same thing with TikToks, etc. So volume is very important. You can repurpose your content. So for example, repost your article on LinkedIn and Medium, but consider focusing on one channel at a time and getting really good at that. For example, YouTube. The author charges $6,000 for a half-day strategy session. Some may pay $30,000 for a keynote speech, and you could consider selling a $100,000 coaching program. So you can see there's a lot of money to be made in this business. If you have 100 people on an email list, you should be selling something to those people, and you can survey them to find out what it is that they're willing to buy. Sharing affiliate links and emails could produce an additional $20,000 revenue. So I've sold tons of products through the Amazon Associates affiliate program, selling very expensive products like $1,000 headphones, etc. Understand what makes you unique. Don't try too hard to play it safe. So when you're consulting with people, sometimes what they're looking for is not a yes man, but somebody that's going to tell them the truth. And also, in terms of your personality with personal branding, you want something that is memorable, that stands out. And often that means not playing it safe. Doing things like having bold glasses or having a strong point of view, a divisive point of view. Consider offering 9 training calls per month, one by you and others by trained associates. Easier to scale that way. Instead of just selling yourself, sell your system, sell your approach, sell your methodology. Good example of this is duct tape marketing, where the author has decouple himself from the framework or from the brand. Look for common elements in your client engagements, and that can become a training manual for people that work under you. Develop a common standardized approach to your work. Speaking. Now, when you first start speaking, no one wants you to talk. And as you get better, people want you to talk for free. Then they want you to talk cheaply. And then eventually they're willing to pay you what you're worth. So paid speakers are generally people that are established in their field. And when you're trying to get speaking engagements, the general experience in the book is that outbound marketing isn't effective. So that's doing things like cold emails and cold calls. It's better if they come to you. And very important, in the beginning, you want to speak for free widely in the early days before you're able to fully monetize speaking. The author now charges $20,000 per talk. Malcolm Gladwell supposedly charges $80,000, and Hillary Clinton made a whopping $225,000 for speech. New speakers generally charge $500 to $2,500. Beginners or new book authors, $5,000 to $10,000 per speech. Those with books or other social proof, $10K to $20,000, and very well-known people, $20,000 to $35,000. So you can see here the potential of making money from speaking. A keynote is generally 45 to 60 minutes, but some speaking might just be with breakout sessions or maybe like a live webinar or a live course or something that could be shorter. And speaking is unlikely to make you rich. So an estimate in the book is that 95% of professional speakers earn less than $10,000 per speech. So the sweet spot seems to be around $6,000 per speech. Ask what the speaker budget is, though, before you present your price, because then you might be able to get a lot more money than you think you could. But note that monetization isn't just the direct money from giving the speech. It's also being able to promote your products and services. So one example was somebody that made $140,000 in products after giving a speech. So that's pretty effective monetization. Now, talking about podcasts, focus on frequency. Publish podcast episodes every week on the same day at the same time. Have a laser-like focus. So one podcaster in the book was just totally focused on the podcast making money. That's what he focused everything on. You can do the same thing with YouTube. With YouTube, you could focus on how do I get more views? How do I get a certain type of audience? But you could just go straight to the revenue tab and be like, what's making me money? Okay, I'm going to make more videos about that topic. Typical CPM would be $20 with podcasts. Premium audiences, $30 to $35. Super niche, $100 CPM. Top podcasters earn $50 to $100 CPM. Podcasts for more lucrative. Podcasts are generally more lucrative than something like YouTube is per listener, where it's going to be more like $2 to $18 CPM. But you can get affiliate deals, and you can also just be a guest on other people's podcasts to get a lot of reach and publicity. You could cold email to be a guest on blogs, podcasts, publications, etc. Make a list of the publications you want to write for. You can check out my video on how to get on podcasts as well. Consider targeting industry-specific blogs or podcasts. Display advertising isn't likely to make you a lot of money. Corporate sponsorships, however, can make you a lot of money. So, for example, sponsored posts and affiliate income can also help. Antonio Centeno used to create blog posts about men's fashion, and then he repurposed that content into videos to reach more customers. I checked out his channel. It's pretty cool. It's called Real Men, Real Style. It's got 3.57 million subscribers, so giving things like fashion advice, fabric advice to men. For example, I watched his video about linen, the benefits of linen and how to use linen. So he didn't want to do product reviews for money. And today he gets about 25%, 30% of his revenue from advertising. And what he's including in advertising is things like sponsored articles where he might be very clear and transparent about, oh, this video was brought to you by this particular seller of linen clothes, and reviews. He has a sizable but specific audience. He can get $5,000 for an article or $10,000 for a video article, which could also be coupled with an email blast with social media promotion. So this is something I do as an influencer too, is I bundle a bunch of things together. It's not just, oh, you get this video, but you get this distribution, you get this promotion, you get this advertising. That's a very good way to monetize, throwing a package together like that. He also makes money from Amazon affiliates and ebooks. He has an in-depth course on men's fashion that costs thousands of dollars. And one thing he's focused on is getting people off of YouTube and onto his email list, where in the way he does that, he offers a free ebook called The 7 Deadly Style Sins, which has produced $100,000 daily email subscribers. And he's also keen on the idea that video creates sales. So video is very tangible. You see the person, you hear the person, you trust the person becomes familiar, you're willing to pay that person. That person's an expert. You see them as an expert. So I think when you're starting, you should model the top video creators in your space. Now, I live very close to some of the most successful YouTubers. They're on the same block that I'm on right now. They have millions of subscribers. And one thing I've noticed is they're not so set on the idea of doing something original. They look at what's successful, they look at what's trending, and they model off of that and say, this is what the market wants. Okay, we're going to create more of that. And that's a very good way to start your YouTube channel. It's also good to express your points with a demonstration, showing an object, or using graphics. So for example, I do a video on Facebook ads where I hold up an orange and I talk about how this is how to think about Facebook advertising. Do you want just one orange, or do you want a whole tree of oranges? Those sorts of gimmicks are very effective for public speaking as well. You could have an online pilot course charging $1,000 per person if it's valuable information. You don't necessarily need to get more customers. You could just raise your price point. So an example in the book was people that had this event where they charged tickets, but the focus of each subsequent year was how do we get the price up, not how do we get more people. And you're going to face capacity constraints if you're doing something like putting on an event, because you can only have so many people in a hall. So you might be better off figuring out how to get more money from those people, how to make the event more valuable so they are willing to pay more. You could have a week-long residential program that costs $6,000 to $8,000. Profit margins are very high with in-person events and live training. So from my experience, that's a very, very easy money doing something like live training, even if it's just online. But doing the in-person events can be very difficult because there's just so many logistics involved. People that are supposed to show up end up being sick, or there are travel delays. There's things you expected to be in the hall aren't there. Lots of problems. So it's not necessarily easy money, but it may be quick money with big profit. You could do a mastermind with just 4 people that includes a 2-hour webinar training every 2 weeks. Most professional masterminds are $500 to $2,000 per month. Elite ones are up to $100,000 per year. You could have an online course where what you would start with is interviewing potential customers to figure out what they would value, what they want, sell it before it's even built so you can pre-sell it at a discount. You could consider charging $77 for pilot customers, and then after the early bird, people have to pay $137. You could charge up to $1,200 if it's something your audience really wants. It's common for online marketers like myself to charge $2,000 for a course. So Danny Einey and Jeff Walker do this. Rami Sethi sells Dream Job Elite for $12,000, and Get Known, Get Clients is $3,000 or $3,500 with monthly installments. So you can see here one digital course that can be sold 1 million times, you can sell for up to $12,000. And of course, the marketing can be very different for something like that. People don't just buy that on a whim. You're going to have to nurture people and persuade them that this is the right choice and that it has a high return on investment. Now, direct marketing sales letters are the old-fashioned way of generating a lot of money. So the way these worked was you had attention-grabbing headlines, a fascinating story, bullet points of benefits, explanations of an offer, and info about price with additional bonuses and guarantees, and then you ask for the sale. So Jeff Walker, who is known for how to launch products, basically took this concept, this formula of direct marketing, and converted it into what he calls a sideways sales letter. And basically that's doing things like video and looking at email as a modern way of doing what direct marketers used to do in the day. So deliver big value before you ask for the sale. So this can be done, for example, with 3 videos for inspiration, aspiration, and education. And then the 4th email is where you go for the kill and you have a video explaining the offer in detail and making the pitch directly to sell something. Have a 3 to 7 day window where people are allowed to buy. This creates urgency. So you want to buy this course or whatever it is you're selling, you only have about 4 days to get it. Develop a reputation as a recognized expert. And when you're starting, you may want to start selling the more expensive products. So a lot of people think, okay, well, I knew I'm going to start at a low price point, right? I'm only going to charge $37 for whatever I'm selling. But the economics are such that when you're small, you're better off charging a lot of money. So I noticed this because I ran an agency many years ago, and I started selling websites for maybe $2,000, and I realized, well, I can only take on so many clients. So what I gradually started doing was just increasing the price. I realized that's the strategy that makes sense. And then I was reaching like $10,000, $20,000 per contract. And once you have a large number of subscribers, then you can think about selling a lower price product like $200 courses or ebooks, something like that, where the conversion rate is only about 0.5 to 2% of your list. Now, a lot of gurus out there are saying that you can really only sell high ticket offers. That's the only route to take. That's the key. I disagree with that. I think there is a lot of money in low ticket offers. I've made a lot of money on low ticket offers. I made a lot of money on high ticket offers. But low ticket offers have been really the baseline for me. That's really the core of how I'm able to pay for my lifestyle. So I don't want you to feel like you have to take that approach, but it does make sense. When you're thinking about economies of scale, it's generally the bigger companies that have the scale that are selling the lower price products and are able to be profitable. So it's easier to make a lot of money selling very expensive things that are like $10,000 and up. Use scarcity to drive signups. So for example, you can say, I'm only doing this webinar this year and no recording will be released. You could transition from one-on-one to group coaching to increase the amount of money you make. You could develop online communities, digital products, virtual summits. Examples is the Branding Summit, which is a series of online video interviews with well-known experts in marketing. People might watch your interview for a particular person. So maybe you interview a famous person, but you're able to latch on to their reputation, their personal brand, and then people might get hooked and they start to see, oh, you interview these other people that are interesting and are experts, and then eventually they become a fan of yours over time. Think about having a product funnel, which is where once someone purchased from you, they end up buying more from you. Maybe they end up buying more expensive things from you or buy at a higher frequency. If you offer specialized or highly coveted info, especially stuff with a clear return on investment, such as how to increase your income, you can sell something like an ebook at a really high price point, so $100 to $150, whereas a traditional book is sort of pegged into that $10 to $30 range. Now, Amazon is very restrictive, where the way they structure the royalty commissions is such that you kind of have to go in a certain range that they want, which is not super low and not very high either. To increase the perceived value of what you're selling, like an ebook, add things like checklists, case studies, and videos. People may stay in your community because of help from other members. So for example, if you start a private Facebook group, I also want you to keep in mind that there's a sort of a key viable number of people to make a community work, and that's generally around 50. I was a member of a very specialized Slack group that I thought would have incredibly valuable information, but it was basically dead because there was no conversation, just not enough people to make it active and useful to keep coming back. And the way you can get those people into the community is perhaps from a course that you sold, and then people are transitioned from the course when they finish to a paid online community, which could be a private Facebook group or a Slack group or Discord group, whatever your liking is. Consider not trying to get into top publications at first, and instead focus on things like niche Facebook groups where people are passionate. Reddit is also a great place. Reddit ads can also help you skyrocket there. Reddit's been revolutionizing themselves with an IPO. They've been rapidly changing how their advertising works, and organic marketing is an option as well. Consider crowdfunding. So one of my colleagues who really inspired me to get into online teaching, he does tons of stuff on Kickstarter to get funding for new product ideas before he launches. You don't need to build a product. You can just promote other people's products. So if your specialty is really going to be marketing, well, maybe it's best not to focus so much time on spending dozens and dozens of hours and thousands of dollars making a product. You can just do something like Amazon Amazon associates. So Darren Rouse, a pro blogger, estimates that he earned $600,000 over 13 years with Amazon associates. I'm getting passive income every month from Amazon associates selling things like expensive electronics. I'm also affiliate for advanced software for Facebook ads where I'm making money. Affiliate can work. I just have issues personally with affiliation because the attribution is pretty faulty. It's kind of this last touch attribution where if they don't buy right away, you don't get credit. You're also getting credit for stuff that you didn't even help promote, especially with Amazon associates. So it can work, but understand how it works and use that to your advantage, which is the last touch attribution. To launch, you could do a pilot launch of whatever you're selling to test the premise of your idea just to see if there's demand for it, because I think that's one of the biggest mistakes people make, authors in particular, is they spend tons of time trying to create the perfect book or the perfect technology. They release it to the market and there's just no demand. It's better to release early, get feedback from the real world, and then adjust accordingly. Write down a description of your ideal day. So for example, if you're the manager type, that day might be full of meetings. If you're a creator type, then it's barely any meetings at all because you really want to be focused on building something, writing something, designing something, etc. People tend to overestimate what they can accomplish in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year. So this highlights the importance in entrepreneurship of really setting a goal. Like, I want to generate $1 million within 2 years by being a leader in this particular space, something like that. So set those goals and be successful.